That gruesome scene was from Chunas, where Charlotte de Turckheim was guillotined during the French Revolution. Now, a constitution is supposed to prevent the sort of situation where people get their heads cut off. And as the nation once more is confronted with the possibility of charter change, I thought it might be useful to review past charter change efforts, their motivations, their objectives, and discuss why some succeeded while others failed, why some brought stability to the country and others brought the country to the brink of revolution. The story of constitutional amendments is our topic for tonight, and I'm Manolo, Quezon, the explainer. This is the Explainer, where we explain why issues are issues. Now, our explainee tonight is a writer for ANC, and I'd like you to introduce yourself for a change.
Yeah, I'm Bettina Magsaysay.
Bettina, of course, points to the news and does the green screen behind me better than I do. Now, Bettina, we're going to be discussing tonight the question of past charter changes as a way of familiarizing ourselves with the political landscape and the way past generations have tackled it. And as we prepare to do this, why don't we invite our viewers to weigh in with their questions and comments on the same topic?
Yes, please join us. Just text REACT space X space your name and your question or reaction and send to 2366 for Sun and Globe and 231 for Smart, or you can log on to www.the-explainer.com.
And you can also leave your comments and questions on our Plurk account, MLQ3, on plurk.com. We're also joined in the studio by students from Arellano University, together with their professor, who made it despite there being a holiday in Pasay City, so we're really pleased they're here. Our discussion on the charter and proposed changes after this. Now, this evening, I'd like to put forward a survey of past charter change efforts as a guide to the ongoing debate on charter change, and ask a couple of questions along the way. First, what makes for a successful charter change effort? More charter change efforts have succeeded than have failed. 1939, 1940, 1947 all succeeded. And 1967 to 1971, which was the time that we got the convention going, worked. 1976 to 1986 under martial law all had amendments being successful. And of course 1987, where we adopted a new constitution, and that itself is a form of charter change, that succeeded too. And then number two, what dooms charter change to fail or at least imperils it? In 1973, charter change worked due to force majeure and legal legerdemain. In 1997 and 1998, 1999 to 2000, and 2005 to 2006, charter change efforts all failed due to public protests, defeat in the courts, or both. So let's look back at why the populace is often so hostile to any proposals to amend the Constitution. From the very start, our efforts to establish and live under constitutional government have been constrained by events. Let me suggest that this is the reason that the public generally takes a reverential attitude towards the law, while the political class, because of its colonial experience, takes a more fluid, tactical approach while maintaining an outward reverence that's necessary both to keep in step with public expectations and because that reverence is required to maintain public order and security. Yet there are times when the public is confronted by what it perceives to be a divergence in its attitudes between the public itself and its leaders. When the revolution began, it was under the auspices of a secret society, the Katipunan. Now, this dissatisfaction on the part of established provincial leaders, used to a more orderly and legalistic manner of doing things, led to the elimination of that secret society and its replacement with a series of nominal republics until the revolution could be resumed against Spain. But attempts at establishing a fully functioning state with a true national reach was aborted in turn by conflict with the United States. Now, under American rule, Filipino leaders, more often than not, who were also called to the bar, had to walk a kind of tightrope. By training and instinct, they were oriented towards the law. By avocation and even ambition, they were tasked with undermining that law or diverting it to ends not intended by the colonial ruling power. Yet the ultimate means to replace one regime with another, armed force, was not an option for a generation and a people who'd lived through the defeat and trauma of the Filipino-American War. So they did it by fundamentally playing within the rules, but pushing the envelope as much as they could. In 1923, Manuel Roxas, who was then Speaker of the House of Representatives, was quoted by Time magazine as saying the following. Bettina? Can you read what Roxas said?
Yes. We have encroached upon the rights of Governor General because in that guise, liberties are won.
Now, this admission that they were out to subvert the powers of the American Governor General was nothing unique or surprising, for it was the bedrock of other independence efforts, such as the Congress Party's independence agitation in India. Your allegiance to the law and the logic of an alien power extends only to such allegiance being convenient to your ultimate cause, which is independence from that alien power. So, of course, the perspective of a lawyer, however incendiary his rhetoric may be, is different from that of the ideologue, the bomb-throwing revolutionary, for example. In that sense, the Nacionalista Party's leaders in the Philippines in the 1920s and 1930s were closer in attitude and temperament, tactics, and objectives to, let's say, Muhammad Ali Jinnah from Pakistan than they were, say, to Gandhi, who was leading the Indian Congress Party. Now, Gandhi would only become relevant to a later generation of Filipinos as Ninoy Aquino embraced the Gandhian tactics of peaceful nonviolent resistance during martial law. Yet, as American historian Joseph Ellis recently pointed out in his book, Founding Brothers, the problem of any generation self-consciously embarked on establishing a new nation is how to dismantle the old system on one hand while establishing firm foundations for a new state on the other. The danger of any revolution, whether violent or peaceful, is that it plants the seeds for an endless cycle of revolution and rebuilding. In the 1935 Constitutional Convention, as Teodoro M. Locsin quoted another writer, this is what was put together. Would you like to read what they wrote, Bettina?
Yes, among the delegates there were, as one writer pointed out, blue-blooded nobles from the Moroland, trained intellectuals from the world-famous colleges and universities, religious leaders and moral crusaders, political moguls and parliamentary luminaries, eminent educators and outstanding jurists, revolutionary generals and World War veterans, business entrepreneurs and banking magnates, opulent hacienderos and small planters, noted writers and famous orators, wealthy landowners and indigenous professionals, and former school teachers and actual university professors.
Yet nearly all of these delegates had memories of the Revolution of 1896 and the Republic of 1898 and of the Filipino-American War that followed, and of the desire to establish a state and a country and under a political system that would last. So how then to establish a government that would endure? The answer? What Jose Yulo, Speaker of the National Assembly under the Commonwealth, would call, quote, conservative reforms. The debate over amending the 1935 Constitution took place over 5 years, practically from the ratification of the Charter until amendments were finally accomplished and ratified in 1940. During that period, 3 main points emerged, and it's interesting that the 3 main points, the issues, have remained consistent over time, coming back over and over again with every proposal for charter change. It's important to note, and this is often overlooked, that before World War II, 2 main branches or approaches to constitutional amendments thus emerged. The first was economic, the second, political and structural.